Hello and welcome to Top Secret TV. My name's David Becker. With me in the studio tonight is Marcia and Andrew Savio from Colour Aura Australia. Now Colour Aura Australia is basically a company that travels around Australia to New Age events, and they act as aura consultants. Welcome.
Thank you.
How are you this evening?
Well, thank you.
Oh, that's good. Now, can you tell us a little bit about what an actual aura is?
Sure. All creatures emit an energy field which radiates outward from the body, and this energy field is seen to represent the balance or level of harmony in the body. We have some colour photographs here which show different auras, and there's one in fact of a little girl. Perhaps Andrew, you could talk about that.
You'll be able to see on the girl with the yellow halo. She has yellow, green and some violets, and basically yellow reflects a lot of things on the person's mind, a lot of mental activity.
Right.
They're doing a lot of thinking. The green is very caring, giving, often giving to others. Violet, she's quite psychic and intuitive. In actual fact, she can actually see auras. So,
and these colours that are represented on a person's aura, they're pretty much fixed, like each colour means a set quality or series of qualities. It's not just one quality. I
it's a trait, it's a personality.
That's
so
very interesting. Is it reflected in our clothes?
Often, yes. Often the clothes we put on reflect on how we actually feel that particular day, and that is an aura.
Right. Oh, okay.
And it's not only living creatures which have an aura as well. Inanimate objects such as the 20-cent piece are said to have an aura also.
So inorganic matter as well as
Yes.
organic matter.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see crystals, the aura of crystals.
Exactly, that'd be dazzling, I'm sure. Generally also the aura can't be seen by the human eye. Some psychics are very gifted and they can actually see it, but most of us can't.
Right, okay. And who were some of the original people throughout history who've really been the pioneers of, aura research?
Well, like some great discoveries, it was a discovery by accident. A Russian couple, Semyon and Valentina Kirlian. Mr. Kirlian was an electrician in a hospital in Russia in 1939, and by accident he discovered that you could in fact produce black and white photographs of the energy field around the body.
Right.
And until they died, they worked on this, so it's roughly 40-50 years of their life that they devoted to this.
Okay.
And there's a man in Australia, Graydon Rixton, who's done a lot of work, and he's been able to produce colour Kirlian photographs because the originals were in black and white.
Really? How does that Kirlian process work? Is it a true photograph of a person's electrical field, or is it the same field that you're detecting with your equipment?
Yes, if you take a look on some of the posters, let's say the one on the left-hand side, the purple, pink, leaf, you can actually see the colours that are emanating from that. So you need a dark room and a Kirlian camera for that. The next to it, the hand with the orange around, basically reflects the energy field that pervades around that person. Underneath that, the two little dots, they're actually fingertips. That's what's radiating out of our fingers.
Really?
So, a lot of young children can see them.
And is that the actual electrical current travelling through the moisture that's coming off the skin?
From a resistance factor. It measures the galvanic skin response, or the heat, light. So basically all matter is light, dense light.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Okay.
Okay. So moving on from that, is there basically a lot of change in auras? Do people's auras stay the same from birth until they die, or does it change over time, reflecting as they get older, or their character changes or whatever?
All of the above, yes, and it depends also on how we feel. If we were to go over to the casino, put in the famous 10-cent piece and you win $1 million in a hundredth of a second, certainly your aura will change fairly dramatically.
Really?
But there is generally a consistency, and if you were to take your aura every day over a number of weeks, you'd find this consistency within a certain colour range. But unlike the aura camera, which we also have, that is capturing in essence a moment in time. The aura in motion is able to detect things as it's happening over,
so an ongoing
in real time.
Yeah. Have you actually used it as a research tool, like I don't know, connect it up to yourself and then, like, you know, put a lighter under your hand to full on induce shock and then the aura changes and see if it changes. I mean, that's a very radical example. It's the first easy one that jumped to mind. But, you know, have you done experiments that induce sudden mood changes and see what happens to the aura?
Yes, I've tried. So if you hold on to it and you have a particular colour feel, the colour blend, a personality trait at that particular time, and then someone asks you questions that pertain to perhaps some sensitive issues to do with your feelings, because that's what your aura is. It'll change dramatically based on someone saying something or a change in feelings. So, and all of a sudden you'll see the chakras, which are energy blockages, energy centres, close down, and all your colours just go right down. So,
see, it's very interesting because you could even look at it in a, not I'm enormously fond of the theory anyway, but in a Darwinian sense, in that it could be an evolutionary thing. Like, we developed the ability, while we might have lost it now, to see auras as a response to environmental pressures. I mean, it'd be very useful to tell whether someone's a threat to you, whether they're being truthful or not, or whatever. You know, as an animal, that would be a very useful skill.
That's true, and children, in fact, are often said to be able to see auras. In fact, we're all technically able to when we're young, and regrettably we tend to lose the ability. It's socialised out of us, basically, but certainly it would be of great benefit.
Yeah, and do you think that it's possible for people to socialise themselves back into it, for want of a better way?
well, you
Could be nurtured, yeah.
But in actual fact, people can, it's a sense, it's an intuition. You can go into a room and some people can say, oh, I could just cut the air with a knife. So in actual fact, your aura is like a feeling. So you don't actually have to see it, you can just feel it around the person. You can just see it, and that's your aura. So it's a sense of feeling.
Okay, and as your work as a counsellor, I'm sure you'd be aware of the phrase of group dynamics, like, say, in organisations and organisational change. For example, corporate people think a lot of group dynamics. And could you apply this technology to groups so that you have the interactions of their auras and whether they would mesh together well in a team environment, say, if you're, you know, a boss?
Yeah, exactly, and especially the aura camera, and in this particular case, the aura in motion. It's a great opportunity to find out almost everything you want to know about the person before you actually employ them. So it picks up the qualities, the traits, the personalities of that person.
And then you can then figure out whether they would fit in that team or not from that?
Exactly.
Oh, that's very interesting. And do you actually in your consultancy do any of that?
No, we keep it quite private, so
Right. Okay.
confidentiality is quite important at this stage.
All right. Well, let's move on to the specific actual colours involved.
Sure.
What does each colour mean? What does yellow mean?
Okay, yellow is mental activity. A lot of things in a person's mind. They're always thinking, analysing. So yellow is often seen as a glow above a person's head. So it's an accumulation of a lot of thoughts and ideas. That type of person can
Albert
actually write a
Einstein
book.
would have had yellow around his head.
A lot of thinking, analysing.
And all right. Well, I'm not going to just pop up colours. You may as well just run through them.
Okay. Well, it starts first the lower bodily base, the red. Red relates to the physical nature of a person. So it can show itself as physical pain, discomforts, etc. Neck, shoulders, lower back, hips. The orange is the creative person, the person that does things with their hands, arms, fingers. They express their feelings through what they create.
Right.
The painter, the writer, that's the only way they
yeah.
could express their feelings is the way they write or paint. Okay. The yellow, as I said, is the mental activity. The person does all their things in their head.
Yep.
The green is the nurse, the caregiver, the helper, the teacher, often giving to others more than they give to themselves.
Surgeons wearing green gowns. Do you think that's?
The caregivers, yes.
You
They
think
often,
that's probably subconsciously intentional?
they often give to others more than they give to themselves. In actual fact, you'll probably find that often they would like that to be received themselves.
Oh, okay.
Blue are the speakers, people that often express their feelings. So blue is your throat. Violet is the psychic, intuitive, clairvoyant, psychic type person. And it's important to note, though, that your hands, your feet, your ears, eyes are blueprints of your whole body.
What do you mean by that?
Well, they're like little postage stamps. So in acupuncture, you know, if you put a
Oh,
needle in
yes.
your ear, something
Yes.
else that happens down here.
I see what you're saying.
So the body is like an electrical cord with
Yep.
knots in it. And when, say, there's a knot in your neck,
Yep.
there's a flaring up, and that's your aura. It's a flaring up that's going on from one of these knots.
So if we to use the analogy of electricity, it's like you've got currents in conflict with each other, and so the energy's just like splattering out and being wasted rather than being used by the body or whatever. Would that be a fair statement?
Exactly. When there's a restriction, there's a knot, there's resistance, and that's your aura. It's a flaring up that's going on from...
Okay.
These knots.
All right, so how do we actually get rid of those knots then?
Well, I wish it would be easy as giving you a tablet, but it doesn't work like that. Conventional or mainstream medicine says here's a tablet or a medicine or a massage. In actual fact, you can't actually do that. That's treating the physical, and perhaps it has its purposes short term, but I go further than that. Behind the physical, there are emotions. Behind the emotions are feelings. Once you understand, break up some of these feelings, undo some of these knots, more energy pervades, and the more we glow, and the physical just take care of itself.
Yep.
So we basically stand prior to the physical. Basically the feelings, understand, break up some of these feelings. So the secret of life is to think less, feel more. So
Depends on
To
what you're feeling, I guess.
understand. Yeah.
All right, well, maybe at this stage would be the ideal time to give it a whirl. If you actually, just before we start or while you're setting it up, just tell us a little bit about the equipment and the program and so forth.
okay, as I mentioned before, in essence, all form of Kirlian photography work basically picks up that which isn't visible and makes it into a more visible light. Otherwise, you wouldn't actually see it in true life.
Right.
So in this particular case, there's a handset,
Yeah.
a glove, and it has sensors on it. And as I mentioned about your hands, we're going to put this on Marcia's hands, or on her ears, or on her feet. Wouldn't make any difference. It's the same energy field in all her
Okay.
chakras or
So
knots.
my next question was about to be, they're not actually represented as acupressure points because there'd be no point, I guess. I mean, I always thought they might be, but as you said, it doesn't matter where you put it.
No, they're resistance. So if you can imagine, if you have a factor of 10 in your hand
Yep.
and a factor of 2 at the fingertip,
Yep.
there's knots of 8, there's knots or resistance of 8.
And
that's knots and resistance of what's going inside you.
Okay. All right, well, let's give it a
Okay,
shot.
so we take a person's left hand and we just slide the glove in, and it just goes over the fingers. So, the first thing I'll do is talk about the colours that pervade Marcia. The colours that people see or intuit,
Wait,
the
just
character, the
tilt
personality.
it out a little bit, just so you can catch
Mm.
it. That one.
Yeah, and then I'll talk about the energy field, that the amount of energy that's going into Marcia, and then we'll talk about all the chakras, all the knots, and see what's opening and closing.
All right.
So let's see what's going on, and I'll use the mouse just here to give an indication of what's happening on the screen. So let's see what colours pervade Marcia, and we'd love to see the white.
Radical change.
Healing, spiritual, transcendent.
Okay, so people see at Marcia's white, psychic, intuitive, and you can see from the bar graph up here that at quite high levels. So white is probably one of the best colours to have. White represents the more balanced, the more whole the person is. Anything less
Lucky
than that,
Marcia.
shortfalls. So
That's today anyway.
so basically white, transcendental, spiritual, imaginative, psychic, intuitive. So a lot of energy is pervading Marcia at the moment, and basically it's going through her third eye. Okay, but at the same time it's going through all the
Must
parts
be
of
the
the body.
wonderful harmonic energies of the studio.
Must be.
So let's let it roll for a sec, and we can actually see a change right now, and it's gone to that purple violet. So let's see what's going on.
Healing, spiritual, transcendent.
Okay, so violet is quite the psychic, intuitive nature. So let's see what's going on in the energy levels. So if we look at the energy level, the line, it'd be nice to have these lines as straight as possible. So a reasonable amount of energy is going through Marcia, and it's all pervading through her at this stage. So no real drama there. State of mind, body. You can see most of the time, yes, it's on the right-hand side, so it shows that Marcia is relaxed, balanced. If
What
we-
would it be if it was on the left-hand side? relaxed,
quite
though.
stressed,
Very
all
stressed.
over the place.
So the more it is
quite
to the
anxious,
right, the better
the
it is.
better it is.
Right,
So
okay.
this shows that.
And it can swing dramatically.
Really?
It's not always centred.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens as we talk and see if Marcia's disposition changes. The emotion meter basically picks up the lower 3 chakras, basically. This area down here. And
Okay.
they're the emotions, and it's like a lie detection. We can see there's a slight movement there, but there's no real drama there.
All right,
And that's,
well, you're a husband. Push some of the buttons and let's watch.
well, I don't know if it's going to work, but so, Marcia, how are you getting along with your partner?
Oh, extremely well.
Okay, and you can see from the arrow, it's staying
that's
quite
true.
steady. So let's go through and see where all the chakras, all the knots are. So blue represents Marcia's throat. So most of the time, yes, it'd be nice to have all these bars as high as possible.
Have you ever seen someone with all those bars at 50?
Yeah, but it's a person
Like
after
for a
mid.
It's
flash
rare.
kind of thing,
It's
yeah.
rare.
Blue represents Marcia's throat, and this tells me that 3/4 of the time Marcia speaks up, and 25% of the time she doesn't. So blue's the throat. So
Okay.
sometimes there's a knot there.
Gee, I'm surprised mine when we did it earlier wasn't like way off the screen. Blue, anyway.
Green, very caring, giving. It shows that she gives to herself. So green is an area of her chest. The light blue, helper, giver. Again, no real concerns. The red, there's still some shortfalls there. You'll probably find that there's some physical discomforts in Marcia, but no real drama. Now, if all these lines were all the way down here, it shows that a person has very low energy levels.
Yeah.
Violet, very high. Again, quite psychic, intuitive, but the yellow would be the highest. And there is there. A lot of things on Marcia's mind. Marcia's doing a lot of thinking at the moment. So let's go back and see if anything's
Thank you
changed
for your thoughts, Marcia.
So,
Deep feelings, love and trust.
okay, so Marcia sees that as a quality that she has, but at the same time, importance to actually express her feelings. Okay, so the arrows on your left here represents the feminine qualities of Marcia,
Yeah.
which it's important for them to be stable, and on the right hand side with the arrow it's the masculine quality. So it's nice to have these both close together. So it tells me that part of Marcia is feminine, caring, giving, nurturing, loving. At the same time, the right hand side, she can also be masculine and quite assertive and say what's
Which-
on her mind.
I would imagine that is pretty much the case in,
But in a number of other cases with people, there's discrepancies. So for
Really?
some men, they need to be more nurturing, caring, and for some
There's a great
females, they-
imbalance between the
imbalance.
arrows.
So let's go back again and quickly see what's going on.
Sensitive,
So,
calm and peaceful.
with,
Okay.
once the signals have left the hand, and what's this? The little box there.
That actually picks up all the signals from the glove, and it goes into that box and basically converts those non-visible energies into visible energies through the computer.
Okay.
So looking at
And that was software developed in US.
yes,
I
it
guess.
was. Yes, it was.
And perhaps you'd like to...
Yeah, why not? Yeah. Well, oh, hang on. Actually, no, we haven't got time, have we? 2 minutes to go.
No.
Oh, all right, quick one.
Okay. So again, we'll see if there's any differences here. So-
Geez, I was quite relaxed before. Now I'm stressing out again.
Okay, we'll probably show itself on the screen.
Is there some way of filtering out that placebo effect, if you like? I mean, that effect of people just being nervous because they're wearing the gear?
Not possible. It's
When they've had it on a few minutes,
Okay.
they tend
That's
to
true,
relax a
yeah.
bit more.
okay. Here we go. We can see.
Physical, grounded and active.
Can you see how
Same
all
as
the
last
arrows have
time.
gone down? Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things going on inside all your chakras nuts. Let's scroll the bars. Oh, they've
Whoa,
shot
what was
right
that?
down.
Yeah,
You're
well-
right down here.
It shows the difference between two people.
So most of the time you speak up, but then it tells me that you need some time out. Basically, you're feeling
Yeah.
a bit tired, lethargic. So
Absolutely.
Get that
I deserve a
Superman
holiday.
suit on.
overworked, certainly. So so your energy level's going through you. No real drama. Need more time to be more relaxed, and no real concerns about the lower emotions. But basically, physical discomforts. There may be some physical discomforts in your body.
Very true.
Okay. So I'll just stop it now, and
Probably feel worse after this.
I'll just let your hand breathe for a minute. So in essence, that covers its use.
All right, well, that's very interesting. Now, if people want to get hold of you for a special consultation, how do they go about it?
Okay, we have our rooms at Croydon North, so we're in the phone book, yellow white pages, as Colour Aura Australia, or they can telephone Victoria 97 22 11 64. So we'll be more than happy to answer anyone's questions.
All right,
Thank you
great.
very much.
Thanks very much, Andrew. Thanks very much, Marcia.
Thank you.
Okay.
Alrighty, and now I think we've got Between the Lines coming up, so we'll have a bit of a break and then we'll come back with Mark and Carla. We'll see you then.
Thanks, Dave, and welcome to Between the Lines. Now, Carla's going to start us off with an interesting little story, something that the conspiracists will love.
Well, they will. It's a new invention. Get this one. The wristwatch you wear in your wrist. Now, scientists are testing a revolutionary watch which can be implanted beneath the skin of the wrist. The device, expected to be on sale within 3 years, will be inserted in a cheap and relatively painless procedure at an outpatient's clinic. Because skin is partially transparent, the watch's time and date display would show through. The invention, under development at the computer company Interval Research in California, uses a liquid crystal display built into a thin film of plastic and sealed with a protective layer. It's controlled by a powerful microchip and powered by a small battery, which is also implanted under the skin surface. The battery is recharged by placing the wrist next to an inductive recharger. The watch will be smart enough to know when to reset itself for time changes, but, if necessary, its setting could be altered via remote control. Researchers believe the same technology could be used to create a range of electronic tags for criminals and could be adapted to record medical information such as blood pressure and temperature. Now, prototypes of this watch are reportedly already being tested. The mind boggles. Now, that was from the Daily Mail in the UK.
That is unbelievable,
It's incredible. We could track someone with a watch, but I mean, imagine being able to tell the time under your skin.
I think you tell people continually about microchip technology, and people say, get out of here. And
That's not true.
I think, you know, a watch is the basics in it. I mean, where did we start with computers? I suppose everyone wore one on their wrist first, so maybe we'll wear one under our skin first when it comes to actual microchips.
And I mean, it could be as easy as we can position you, a little global positioning system inside that watch too, I guess. We could find you anywhere.
Well, what was interesting is that you could change that by remote control, which means that your microchip can be influenced from outside whilst it's actually inside your body.
And you don't think it'd be a conspiracy theory to create confusion over time just by changing people's watches?
No. Well, it's also said you can connect a computer chip to nerve endings. So if you think that's a rather sinister concept, having a computer chip in your body attached to nerve endings which can be influenced from an outside source.
And what if you want to get it out? Another operation, I guess.
Definitely. Well, on with the next one. 2 men claim a black triangle UFO crashed near Sheffield on March 24th, 1997 at 10:06 p.m. A mysterious explosion rocked South Yorkshire. The boom, confirmed by Edinburgh University, was attributed to a sonic boom from an RAF jet flying too low at supersonic speed, or a bolide, a thunder egg, or a humble exploding meteor. Now, 2 men, one a ufologist who wishes to remain anonymous, claim they saw a black triangular UFO pass over their house near Sheffield and Dronefield, Yorks, just prior to the blast. The ufologist's friend claims he looked out the window at 9:45 p.m. on March 24th and saw the large object fly over the house. He described it as 200 feet in size, with a light at each tip and a large blue intense light in the centre bottom. He also claims to have seen the object followed by 6 RAF Tornado jet fighters. First 2, then 2 more, then 2 more following that. Helicopters began to appear. Hearing the explosion, the friend told the ufologist, and together they drove down Highway A57, also known as Snake Pass Road, hoping to find the crash site. They ran into a police roadblock which prevented them from entering the Barrens beyond Sheffield. Rumours of a black triangle crash persist in Britain, despite the official denials. Supporters of the theory cite an alert that the evening at the Royal Hospital at Hamelshire to expect the arrival of plane crash victims. Also, there are unconfirmed reports of a UFO radar contact at the bases RAF Cosford and RAF Shawcross. Investigations of these reports by Britain's UFO community continues. Thanks to Errol Bruce Knapp for forwarding this story. Thanks, Bruce.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yes, well, I think all UFOs are basically denied when reported. I often wonder what the point of reporting a UFO is.
So that you can go and chase that meteor or
Yeah, so you can
flock of
deny
geese.
it.
Yeah, well, maybe that is the game. We've got some more sightings too, this time in Australia. Black triangles sighted all around Australia. On Sunday, April 6, 1997, at 4:30 p.m, people in Liverpool, a suburb of Sydney, Australia, spotted a flying black rectangular object with a red-orange illumination underneath, heading for downtown Sydney. A police sergeant estimated the object to be approximately 6 feet by 4 feet by 4 feet in size. Jet black with a bright light underneath, and its speed was about 120 knots, travelling to the east from the northwest. Its height appeared to be about 1,500 feet in altitude, no sound was heard, and the weather was clear with no wind. So it couldn't be an atmospheric thing, you wouldn't think. On Friday, April 11th, 1997 at 11:30 p.m, some people in Melbourne, Victoria sighted a large matte black triangular shaped object slowly travelling from west to east. The object was sighted blocking out the view of the stars as it passed over. The following day, Saturday, April 12th, 1997 at 9:10 p.m, witnesses spotted 5 bright orange illuminations in a triangle formation heading to the southeast over Campbelltown, New South Wales, about 40 miles southwest of Sydney. 10 days later, on Tuesday, April 22nd, 1997 at 8:50 p.m, people in the Newcastle and Wallsend area of New South Wales reported sighting a large black delta or triangular shaped object travelling overhead, followed by 3 yellow-orange ball lights at an estimated altitude of 2,000 to 3,000 feet and at an estimated speed of 80 to 100 kilometres per hour. On Monday, April 28th, a family was driving their motor vehicle down the Pacific Highway from Newcastle, New South Wales to Sydney. Then, about 7 p.m, the 11 witnesses encountered a triangular red illumination that passed over their motor vehicle on the highway to Sydney. The object slowly travelled over the 11 witnesses about 40 metres up and, once passed over, shot off at a great speed to the east. We'll thank Ross Dow from the Australia's National 24-Hour Hotline for reporting these sightings. There's obviously some activity still going on in Australia.
Black triangles.
Just like they've reported in Britain as well.
It's funny how that changed as ufology has gone on, that either we are making now triangular black UFOs or we're just reporting them that way.
True.
One or the other.
Yeah, it's interesting to know what is going on here. I mean, it's been quite a thing. People have been seeing these triangular craft, no sound, blocking out the stars, matte black. You would have to think, or I suppose the conclusion I'm coming to is that it was maybe some sort of secret test thing, like
An
a
advanced
stealth
technology,
yeah.
you think?
Yeah, we didn't know about the stealth too many years later, did we?
Right.
Has to be kept secret.
Well, that's all for Between the Lines this evening. Enough of the UFO reports and the disgusting information from the US Congress. Thank you very much from Carla and Mark. Good night.
See ya.